All right, today we're going to pull back the curtain on the silent workhorses that power pretty much everything you do online. We're talking about web servers and application servers. So let's just dive right in.
You know, every single time you click a link or buy something online or just scroll through your social media feed, there's this complex dance happening in the background. It's between your device and some remote server. But here's the thing, it's almost never just one server. It's usually a team. So what is really going on in that split second between your click and the page actually loading?
Okay, so to really get the difference between these servers, we've got to start at the very beginning. I'm talking about the simplest possible action you can take on the web.
This is the classic client-server model, right? Your web browser, that's the client. It shoots a request over the internet using a URL, which, is basically just the server's address. The server's whole job is to catch that request and send something back. But which server actually gets that request first?
All right, let's meet the first member of our team, the web server. I want you to think of it as a super efficient librarian. You know, the one standing right at the front desk of the internet's giant library? So, a web server's main gig, it handles requests for what we call static content. And static content is just anything that's already made and doesn't change. Think about the text of a blog post, or an image file, or the basic CSS code that sets up a website's layout. It's all the off-the-shelf material.
Yeah, the web server's job is incredibly focused. It speaks the main language of the web. That's HTTP, the Hypertext Transfer Protocol. And it is optimized for one thing and one thing only, speed. Because it's only dealing with these simple, pre-made files, it stays really lightweight and doesn't hog a lot of resources. You've probably heard of the big ones, right? Apache, Nginx. These are the powerhouses that serve up a massive chunk of the internet's static stuff.
This librarian analogy, it nails the concept perfectly. You go up to the librarian and ask for a specific book. Let's say an image file called logo.png. The librarian zips over to the shelf, finds it, and just hands it to you. Simple, fast, efficient. But what happens when the book you want hasn't even been written yet?
And this is where our nice, simple story starts to get a little more complex. Because, let's be real, the modern web is anything but static.
I mean, we expect websites to be interactive, right? We want them to be personal, we want to log in, see our own data, and have experiences that are tailored specifically for us. And our super efficient librarian, it can't handle these kinds of custom, on-the-spot requests.
Now seriously, think about it for a second. When you add something to your online shopping cart, that page has to be built just for you, right then and there. The server needs to know who you are, what you just added, maybe calculate a running total. This is definitely not some pre-made file just sitting on a shelf somewhere. This is what we call dynamic content. It's created in real time, specifically in response to what you do. And this is the exact moment our librarian realizes, okay, I need help from someone who can actually create new things from scratch. So, what happens? The librarian calls for backup, and in walks the second key player in our system, the application server. So if the web server is the librarian at the front desk, the application server, well, that's the master chef back in the kitchen.
Now, the crucial phrase here is business logic. And really, that's just the fancy term for the code that does all the complex stuff. We're talking about things like processing a payment, or checking inventory in a database, or personalizing your news feed based on what you like. The application server is the workshop, the environment where all of this custom, heavy-duty work actually gets done.
So yeah, unlike the web server that just hands out existing files, the application server is a total powerhouse. It takes ingredients like data from a database or info from other services, and it follows a recipe, which is our business logic, and then it cooks up brand new, custom content just for you. It's handling all the complex stuff in the background, from talking to databases to making sure transactions are secure. It even uses specialized protocols like RPC, which basically let different programs talk to each other directly to get the job done faster.
So you see, this isn't web server versus application server at all. It's all about teamwork. Let's walk through how this partnership actually powers a typical request for something dynamic.
Okay, so here's how the teamwork actually flows. Your request, it always hits the web server first. It's the front line, the gatekeeper. If you ask for something simple, like an image, boom, the web server handles it and you're done.
But if you ask for something complex like your shopping cart page, the web server knows, whoa, this isn't for me. So it passes the request along to the application server. Our chef gets to work, pulls your items from the database, builds that custom page from scratch, and then hands the finished, fully cooked page back to the web server. The web server then takes that page and delivers it to you. This whole division of labor, that's the real secret sauce of the modern web. It's what keeps things fast, secure, and scalable, just by letting each server do the one job it's amazing at.
All right, now that we've seen them in action together, let's just put their key differences side by side. A final clear breakdown.
This table really sums it all up, doesn't it? Web servers, they handle the simple, static stuff, and they're easy on the resources. Application servers, they are the heavy lifters, the ones executing all that complex business logic to create dynamic content. And a really key difference is how they handle lots of requests at once. An application server uses something called multi-threading, which is kind of like having a whole team of chefs in the kitchen at the same time, each one working on a different custom order. This is what lets it manage tons of complex interactions all at once, which is, absolutely vital for any busy website.
And honestly, that is the single most important takeaway here. It's not a competition. The web server is the fast, efficient front of house, and the application server is the powerful, creative back of house. This partnership, it's not just a nice option. It is the absolute foundation that makes all the seamless, interactive web experiences we rely on every single day even possible.
So next time you're using your favorite app or website, just take a second and think about that hidden team working behind the scenes. Is the